Beginning.
All right, we are live. So I will call the meeting of the Public Safety Building Committee to order for Thursday, April 2nd at 7 p.m. All members are present except for Mr. Moorhead and Mr. Officer, and Ms. Cook. I'll explain Ms. Cook's status when we get into the members report. I just have to read a brief statement that appears at the top of the agenda given the virtual setting that we're in, so just bear with me for a second. Pursuant to Governor Baker's May 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 38, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Southborough Public Safety Building Committee will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information in the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Southborough website at www.southboroughtown.com/remote meetings. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch or participate in this meeting may do so by the joining instructions /link included above. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite the best efforts, we will post on Southborough's website an audio and video recording, transcript, and other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. All right, so now that I have called us to order, I'll just remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded and will be stored on the town's website. Pursuant to the statement that I just read, members of the public are welcome to participate if they do log in on the Zoom meeting, and we will do all public comment at the end to the extent there is any. With that, our next agenda item is approval of meeting minutes from February 7th, 2020. Were there any questions for Mr. Lyons?
I make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
I got a second from John Rooney. Any discussion? All right, we're gonna have to do everything as a roll call vote. So I'll just I'll do name and then just state your vote as we go. Malinowski, aye. Barry?
I wasn't at that meeting, so do I abstain or I'll approve them if that's.
It's up to you.
Or aye.
Rooney?
Aye.
Wood?
Aye.
Goodney?
Aye.
Lyons?
Aye.
All right, so that passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is chairman's update. So I don't see Kathy logged in, but as I mentioned, Kathy is no longer a member of the committee. She had to resign as a member of advisory. You can only be on one ad hoc committee. And she was recently appointed to the capital planning committee that was recently formed in town. So that committee kicked off yesterday. So Kathy submitted her resignation in conjunction with that committee kicking off, especially given that this committee was essentially in wind down mode. I did have a discussion with her to thank her on behalf of the committee, but just wanted to do it in public. Obviously, her contributions throughout the process, she came in right when we kind of formed as a building committee, I think were, tremendous along the way, obviously, and was a valuable member of our team. So I just wanted to, on behalf of the committee and the town, thank her for her services to this group. And she asked that I pass along, the reasons why she was resigning and what a joy it was to work with the fellow committee members here. Other items under chairman's update is prior to the COVID-19 situation shutting down the public safety building to kind of members of the public, including contractors. One of the things that was brought to what I would say a very good resolution for the town is, as many of you know and have seen, the countertops in the booking area of the police side, the workmanship was very poor. And Chief Paulus and his team were incredibly patient working with the contractor and letting the contractor do everything they had to with the sub to exhaust all means before finding another solution. If you were to go into that area today, the quality is still remarkably poor, but in the general contractor's view, they've exhausted all efforts with that subcontractor, and now have agreed to put in a new material that is amenable both to the design team as well as Chief Paulus and doesn't change any bit of his operations. So I just wanted to, I know that has come up in a few of our meetings, so I wanted to thank Chief Paulus and his team for their patience resolving it, because there were legal requirements we had to go through to kind of let the subcontractor finish their work, but also commend CTA for working with us and being, reasonable and understanding, given that the quality was not to our satisfaction. So while the finished product is still not in there, we still will have a holdback for it, but the good news is the parties, that matter in terms of the general contractor and the town and the design team are all on the same page of how to resolve that issue. So I guess I'll pause and see if there's any questions from the committee.
What was the material that they used instead of the stainless steel?
I believe it's going to be Corian.
Is that roughly the same price as the stainless steel, or are we going to get a credit? Or are we going to?
It's going to be a net wash. We're not going to be out anything. We're not going to get anything back. I think is the end game.
Okay.
The only other thing I'll point out is there are, and this will come up when we go through the requisition, there are a few items that still remain outstanding, mainly epoxy floors on the police side, and the door jams on the overhead doors in the apparatus bay, that we are still going to be holding back money for. There are resolutions in place for both of those. It's just going to be up to the chiefs of when we relax the access restrictions, to the site to allow that work to be done. And obviously those workers being willing to also come and perform the work at that time, but none is inhibiting the operations of the building at this point. I think it also probably goes without saying, and I think it was stated in a recent Board of Selectmen's meeting, having the facility during these times and having the ability for them to spread out and not being kind of the tight quarters that both departments were in. I think if we all kind of look back to what we went through the last couple of years, we're very fortunate to have timed it the way we did. And I can't imagine what we'd be going through right now if we were still in construction mode. Any questions, anything as part of Chairman's update?
No.
All right, so next item is approval of CTA requisition number 20. That was distributed to the committee before the meeting. As I mentioned in the last meeting, I've also been working with Heidi, the town accountant, just to make sure as we get, we're really within dollars and pennies as we kind of go through all of this. I discovered that the version that was sent to us did not reflect an actual payment that had been made based on our last meeting. So I'm going to move that we authorize a payment of $78,069.49 for CTA requisition number 20. Is there a second?
Second.
I guess.
I second that.
All right, so I had a second from John Wood, I think, and Pete. So John, I think, pick which one you want to document in the minutes. I guess, is there any questions on the disconnect between what was in your packet versus what actually is what I moved? It's simply the delta is the payment that was already made on the town's behalf in the last meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Seeing no questions from the committee, I've made a motion. It's been seconded So I'll do a roll call vote. Malinowski, aye. Barry,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Goodney,
Aye.
Lyons,
Aye.
Rooney.
Aye.
All right, that passes unanimously. There will be one more invoice from CTA for the balance of 34,500. And that will solely be related to the two items I identified earlier in terms of the epoxy flooring and the overhead door jams. So I guess the question for the committee I would have is when that, given that we're probably going to be in this remote setting for a while, we have two options. Is we can conditionally approve that pending approval from the town administrator and myself, or we can call another meeting when that comes in. I don't know if it's going to be a month from now, 3 months from now. Obviously, our term will expire on 6/30, regardless of what happens. So I don't know if there's any strong sentiment one way or another. That's really the last item of business we'll have as a committee in terms of invoice approval. Everything else that's been approved has been already approved in prior meetings.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to conditionally approve it, so we all don't have to come back and for one item in particular.
I agree.
All
Yeah,
right,
I would agree. It's not a very big number anyway, correct?
correct. We're contractually obligated to it. It's just a matter of getting what we paid for at this point.
Yep, I agree as well. So,
All right. So I'm going to move that this committee authorize the town administrator in conjunction with the chair and the town accountant, upon conjunction with both chiefs, to authorize payment of any final CTA requisitions in line with what's already been contractually obligated. Is there a
So
second?
moved. Second, so moved.
Second by John Wood. Any further conversation? All right, roll call vote. Malinowski, aye. Barry,
aye.
Rooney,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Goodney,
Aye.
Lyons, and Rooney.
I again,
All right, sorry if I
not a problem.
all right, and then next agenda item, summary of invoices approved since last meeting. The items that have been paid since the last meeting were the security contract that we had approved many months ago. That work was completed. The fencing was completed to separate the golf area from the building, and then the final commissioning invoices for Vertex and the final invoice for the what we know is the stair 2 window on the police side was also paid. That was finished by Vertex, and just wanted to commend them. They actually came back to us and rebid the contract at a lower number than what we had, because they found a vendor that they actually felt more confident in that was charging a lower price. So they obviously didn't have to do that, but I just wanted to thank them for that. It was about a savings of $1,500, but I think it's worth noting, anything counts. Any questions on that?
No, very good.
In terms of project budget update, like I said, we've been working pretty closely with Heidi just to make sure all the final ducks are in a row. And we still are in a range between 3.1 and 3.2 million that will be, left on the side, when this is all said and done. That includes, any anticipated payments, between now and the end of the fiscal year. I don't obviously know when town meeting will be, but there is an article there to rescind 3 million of that. And I think they'll just leave a little bit left for a future town meeting to rescind the remaining 100-ish thousand, based on my understanding and discussions with Mark and Brian Ballantyne. Any questions on that?
No?
All right, I'll just Tom Laflame, I don't see anyone that logged in for public comment. Can you just confirm I'm not missing anything?
That is correct. There is no one.
Perfect. Is there any other business that this committee wants to discuss this evening?
No, sir.
Okay, so in terms of next steps, I think we will have one final meeting at some point before June 30th. With the intent would be to approve meeting minutes from this meeting, but also to approve the meeting minutes from that meeting so that we can officially be in compliance with open meeting law and have all our minutes in a row. If that doesn't happen within 45 days, what will happen is the draft minutes that John Lyons comes up with, we'll post those until we actually decide to meet.
Sounds good.
All right, with that, I will make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, second by Pete. Roll call vote, Malinowski, aye. Barry,
Aye.
Rooney,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Goodney,
Aye.
Lyons,
Aye. Sorry.
no problem. Your names jump around on the panelist side. That's why I'm jumping around different orders. All right. Thanks, Tom, for setting this up. Thanks, everyone, for coming together, and stay well.
Stay
Thanks,
safe.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.